Well, hello again. We're back again this week with when loving you is hurting me. Somebody has to go and I can't leave me. Now I wasn't gonna put that ending, but I decided that I would put the ending in. But the podcast title is actually When Loving You is Hurting Me. And again, you have to go back to week one to listen to the first session to understand how I came about this. But this week, I had said in the last week session that I was going to talk about something different, but I'm going to go back to forgiveness for a minute because forgiveness is the strongest um, avenue we have to take in order for us to move on and grow. Many times we don't understand what it takes to forgive. People will tell you, you got to forgive them, and if you are a Christian or born again believer, they'll say, if you don't forgive them, God won't forgive you, and so they use that tactic. But God understands that we are human, we are not Him. So it may not be as easy to forgive as it is as Jesus forgives us, but it is possible. So, my disclaimer again is I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm just here to help you with what you're doing or provoke you to do better in what you're doing. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not licensed to do this, but these 25 years that I have been helping people, counseling people, um, I think I have the experience to help somebody. I'm not getting in your relationship. I'm just going to talk about things that occur in relationships and will make you think about, well, which way should I go? It's basically to help you make decisions on what you want to do. So when I looked at the forgiveness, I thought about how hard it can be. And remember last week I talked about the guilt that comes with forgiveness, because a lot of times we don't forgive ourselves. We may even forgive that person or think we forgive that person, but the hardest person to forgive is ourselves for making a decision. I was rocking. This is a habit of mine to rock. But the hardest thing for us many times is to forgive ourselves for making a mistake or making the wrong choice or accepting the wrong choice. It's hard for us, but what we have to learn is um, that forgiveness, again, remember I told you last week that people say, well, forgiveness is for you. Forgiveness is for us, but I want to talk about how to forgive ourselves and then how to forgive that person, because a lot of times we say we forgive, but as soon as we see that person, it just comes back to us. And we have to make sure that with this forgiveness, that there's no bitterness, because bitterness um, is a root and it has to be delivered out of us. If you're not a born again believer, you may just need prayer, or I don't know if you believe or not. It's up to you, but I believe in prayer. And I do believe that when we have bitterness or we upset at somebody, that we have to go down in prayer in order to get delivered from it, because uh, it's a hurtful thing to trust somebody and then be betrayed by the one you put your trust in. It's a hurtful thing for someone to continue to tell you they love you, but every action point to, no, you really want to use me, or no, you really want me to stand by and wait on you. No, you really just using words, but your actions is showing something totally different. And we have to come to terms with ourselves and say, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. I want to move on, because um, we have to believe that there is somebody for everybody out there. This is not just about dating either, or uh, being married, or a relationship in the sense of man and woman. This is also about relationships, period, meaning it could be a friend, it could be cousins, It could be any kind of relationship you have, your mother, your father. But for me, I'm gonna stop for a minute with mother and father because I just believe, even if you don't get along with your parents, I just believe that you need to make a way to get along with your parents. And I know some people got hurt really bad by their parents, but you got to understand there's no rule book to raising anybody. So if your parents didn't have a rule book, then you have to give them a little bit of room because a lot of times it's generational. They come from what happened to them and they bring it into, um, you know, their parenting toward us. I don't have any children, but I do understand. And I know people say, you don't have no children, you can't. Yes, I can. I've helped a lot of people raise their children from birth. I know it ain't the same thing as giving birth, but sometimes people that give birth can be the worst for people, can be worse on children because they don't understand how to raise children. But because I had experience in helping with, my nieces when I was younger, I did a lot of stuff while my sisters worked. So I was the one, I was 10 years old, and I was assisting them in cooking and cleaning and laundry. I did everything that a normal mother would do, but I was 10 years old. So when people tell me I can't understand being a mother, you're right, not a natural mother, but I can totally understand the responsibilities of a mother. So we downplay people that have not had natural children, um, but can downplay the responsibility that I took on that was not my own. And it wasn't just with my family, but I have godchildren that I was in their lives from the time they were born. And I assisted in every area of their life. So anyway, I'm talking about those types of relationships too. So as this podcast go on, it's not just about relationships in as far as being married or dating, or it's about all relationships. That's all. It's about all relationships. When loving you is hurting me. So I can love you dearly as my friend, and then you betray me. Then what happens then? And I can't honestly say that I've had a friend that betrayed me. I've had friends that let me down, but I'm sure I let them down too. But I can't honestly say that I've had a friend that totally betrayed me. Um, I've had situations in my relationships with my friends, and yes, they did hurt, but also, again, it could be on the other side too. So right now, I just want to talk about the forgiveness. I want to stick to the point of forgiving someone because when we carry hurt, when we, not allow ourselves to become content with understanding that that person just may not be right for us. Now I'm talking about a man and a woman. That person just might not be right for us. It's hard to believe that we got ourselves in that situation and we believed them. Everything they said, well, I've never been that type though, let me just tell you the truth. I've never believed everything nobody say. As a matter of fact, people always say, you just don't trust. I lead with, I treat people kind and I give them a chance. But I don't put no fully trust in nobody but Jesus. I ain't gonna lie. Because I know anything can go bad. So I keep my trust in him because I know he sees everything. But yet I press on. Um, I pressed on in even my very own relationship. So I understood that he saw everything that I couldn't see. But what I did see and what was revealed to me later, yeah, it kind of disturbed me. You ever been in that kind of relationship where it's like, wait a minute, where you go with that? Where did that come from? I thought that you was this type of person, and you turned around, and now I see that are you intentionally hurting me? See, that's hard to forgive when somebody intentionally hurt you. When everything about them make you feel or attempt to make you feel less than you are. See, I'm a little churchy, so I was about to rebuke some things, but we're not going to do that. But everything about them intentionally hurt you. That's the worst, is when you feel like somebody didn't value you enough to respect you enough to just come to you and say, you know what, I think I'm done with this relationship. I think I'm going to move on. But instead they continue to tell you, no, that's not true. No, that's a lie. People lying on me. You hear from everybody. Your man or your woman is doing this, or your man is doing this, your woman is doing, you hear it constantly, and you stuck between that rock and a hard place because you don't want to go out really and just try to discover. You kind of know because you kind of realize it by their absence out of your life, and they no longer texting you like they used to. They no longer calling you like they used to. So you kind of know. It's like, I kind of know, but should I believe him and give him a chance? Should I believe her and give her a chance? That's where we err, because we continue to put ourselves in a bad place. So with this forgiveness, again, as I said, people always say forgiveness is for you, but we want to not only just understand that forgiveness is for us, but we want to know how to forgive, because there's so much you have to let go in order to be able to forgive somebody. And you have to have the ability to see the person, but not allow the feelings that you used to have for the person to arise, because you may see them with their other woman or see them with their other man. You might, you don't want to get violent. You see it on TV all the time. They get really violent because they see their spouse or their ex-girlfriend or boyfriend, they see them with someone else. But we got to understand life goes on. And you can't sit in a corner and wish them back into your life if everything about them is saying they want to be with someone else. We got to come to terms with ourselves to literally, even if we don't get that apology, we still got to forgive sometimes. Oh, well, no, let me put it this way. We need to forgive even when we don't get that apology. We understand that everybody in life is not going to say, I'm sorry for what I did to you. It's just not going to happen. So we can't sit there and beat ourselves up and say, why? We do that all the time. Why would they do that to me? I had nothing but the best intentions for them. How can a person be, I had come to the terms where I just straight up say, you know what, that person is just wicked. I'm going to call you wicked in a minute. Now, I can't say that they really wicked. It's just wicked from my standpoint to think that I saw something the other day, and it said sometimes we expect from other people ourselves. So sometimes we expect people to act like we act toward them, but that don't always happen. I was told that years ago when I worked for another company when I lived in Michigan, and my supervisor said it. She said, you know what, Vanessa, sometimes you just think people going to treat you like you treat them, but you're not going to always get that from people. And it took a while, and I just recently, like 2 days ago, read that again. And I had to laugh about it because I'm like, that is so true. And even though she said it, I don't expect people to be like me, but I expect genuine kindness or genuine love or genuine niceness. I expect people to just come on, grow up once you get older. Because, even in my generation, as we gotten older, why are you still doing the same things and acting the same way you did when you were younger? I just can't understand it. That's not, my perception of things is so different now. I don't live, number one, I don't live expecting anything from anybody, but at the same time, I do expect things from people. I know that sounds backwards, but the truth is, I expect you to be human and to have some kind of moral values. I expect that from people. You know, we were always taught when you come into a room, you say, hello. You don't get that today. Young people, and I can't even just say young people because I'm going to tell you now, there's even older people I've seen walk into a room and don't know how to say hello. And that's on them. But, and I'm not going to get deep into that. I'm going to stay on course with forgiveness. But understanding that when you forgive somebody, you also release them, you know. And it takes a lot of love to say, you know what, you did me wrong, but I'm going to let you go. I'm going to let you go. Now I'm releasing myself, but I'm also releasing them because I want them to understand that what you did not hold me captive. The love I thought you had for me, it changed my life somewhat, but it didn't destroy how I feel towards someone else. So I will not leave you believing that I don't believe in love still. And that's what you have to get in your mind, your heart, and soul, that that's not the end all. Just because one relationship didn't work out, that's not the end all. I see so many people beating themselves up, crying over some man, and the man still doing the same thing to them. You know, still treating them like they're a piece of trash, and still acting like they don't value them, and I could take or leave you. Females, even males also. I'm not gonna discard the fact that females have treated males like that also. But again, it mostly happened to women because men will just move on to the next woman as if you didn't exist. And that's hard for people too. And that's another thing you have to forgive is the fact that they act like they never knew you when they move on. It's okay. You're going to survive. I tell people all the time, and I'm a very big advocate of telling people don't commit suicide. It's not worth committing suicide over a male or a female or a relationship, period. It's never worth it. And I'm going to tell you why it's not, because you can get over it. If you keep living, you'll understand your real value. But again, you have to value yourself. You have to forgive yourself for the mistakes you have made. You have to forgive yourself for the things you have done, trying to be in love with someone. You know, a lot of times people would do the most degrading things trying to hold on to a man or a woman. They'll do so many things that they normally wouldn't even do, but they're trying to keep that man or woman, and then the person still walk away from them. That's why I say, don't do nothing in a relationship that you don't feel comfortable doing. Because you got to realize, it could go from being married to, from dating to being married. I don't advocate sex before marriage, but that's me. But I also say, don't do nothing that you would be ashamed of if everybody knew you did it. Because that way, you hold on to your dignity. And for women, you hold on to your class. You know, I hear people talking, I'm classy, but I see them doing everything, saying anything. Some of the stuff I hear today is because a lot of people walking around the same situation. They date the same type of man or they date the same type of woman, but you expect something different from this person. See, I could get a little deep on you because I seriously can look at a person and be like, oh, that's that same spirit. Like my ex, I related him to a guy that I used to date years ago. The physical attributes were almost the same, except for the guy that he died. My ex-boyfriend, he died, but he was a sweetheart. But he was a mess. But he was my friend. But he was a mess. Yes, and he did some things, and he was a mess. We know. Stop playing like you don't know about what you're getting into. Because a lot of times we know what we're getting into, but we want to put on a blinder and act like, oh no, I didn't see that. I didn't see that. I didn't see. He just no. We really do know sometimes, but then there are times that somebody, if you're not very observant, somebody can get it past you, and you don't understand how you ended up in this situation. If you ever watch the ID channel, I'm a fan of the ID channel because it gives you so many scenarios of hidden things or hidden agendas and hidden motives that happen in relationships. So I said that to encourage you. What's the time? I'm trying not to go past time. You got to keep me alert though. I know I stopped in the middle, but anyway, I said that because growing up, I was always taught a hurting person hurt people, and a lot of times we're hurting and don't even realize we're hurting, and it's because we just don't have any forgiveness in our heart. See, a hurting person that have been healed. So you're hurting, but you healed. You tend to forgive because when you healed, you can move on. You can see it right in your face. You can see the person right in your face, and it does not bother you anymore. That's when you're at the other side of forgiveness. That bitterness, that hurt, and this is the thing that most people do. And I think it's because it's in our brain, replay something over and over and over again. And the more we replay it, the harder it gets to let go. It's hard to get it out of our minds. It's hard to get it out of our heart because we replay it. And then there's places we go, it's like, oh, or there's music we hear, and it's like, oh, I remember that. And so when we do that, it doesn't allow us room to heal. But today, talking to you about forgiveness, I want you to let the Lord heal you. And if you just don't believe in the Lord, all I can say is stay away from the situation. You may get healed that way. I just believe that prayer can heal you. The more, and I know people, whatever. This is about, the Lord has blessed me to start talking to people more and more. I don't like being in front of cameras. Most people don't understand. My niece laughing now because I'm doing this because I want to help somebody to understand that living this life is a blessing to you. And it came about relational because of the situation I've seen. And as I said, the woman that I talked about in the first video, it broke my heart. I don't know her personally, but I knew her situation because our situations related. When you wait a long time because you trust in the Lord to bless you with somebody, and you goodness, well, you know the word of prayer, you think to yourself, I'm not going to choose, or I'm not going to accept a hand because unless God tell me to. I used to joke and say, and I'm coming to you from a real standpoint. This is what I'm talking to you about is not fake, phony. If you met me today, we could sit down and I'm gonna talk the same exact way. So this is not just for some likes, but you can, if you don't mind, subscribe to my channel. When Loving You, my niece has to change the name to When Loving You Is Hurting Me. She put it on YouTube as If Loving, but that changes the whole context of what I'm doing is When Loving You. So she's going to change that on Instagram, and she's going to change it on YouTube and on the Podbean because it's on there incorrectly. But if you can, go on YouTube, if you would, subscribe and give me some likes. I'm trying to build it up. But not only that, I came on simply to encourage somebody to understand that in a relationship, the first steps is forgiveness. When the relationship go bad, is we have to forgive. Even when we don't want to, we have to forgive. Even when we don't like what's been done to us, we have to forgive. So that's what today's session was about, is just forgiving. I don't need anybody to tell me you are not a licensed, you don't have a degree in it. I don't need that, because it doesn't bother me what you feel. I know that I have literally walked out this walk, so I know it does work. And of course, again, I trust in prayer to help me through it, and it did heal my heart. I'm not struggling. I had one young lady, she was like, Vanessa, you look like you're in such peace. I am. Actually, the Lord has really blessed me since I accepted, and that's going to be our next show, the acceptance of the end of a relationship, so that we can go on and see what the end's going to be like. I know it's churchy. I'm trying not to. But I do want you to understand that, God did create us. And if he created us, if he created us, well, since he created us, then he knows what's best for us. So again, today I just wanted to come on and just talk to you a little bit about forgiveness. If there's anything you want to ask me, you can always, I don't know how do you do it on comment. You can comment. I'm told you can comment. I'm still getting used to all this technology, but you can comment. I am on Facebook. I'm under Vanessa Jones on Facebook. I believe it's on, where's the other? Google. It's on Google. Spotify. It's on Spotify, Amazon, and Apple coming soon. So right now it's just YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, Amazon, what's the last one? Google. So you can find my podcast on any of them. I am not going to stop, because I feel like people, are not liking my stuff or subscribing, because I'm going to keep going. I believe if I could just help one person to understand, basically what I'm doing is I'm bringing you back to loving you. That's all. Just bringing you back to understanding your value and your worth. Remember I said last week, you're going to hear me say your value and your worth. Man, if you get your value and your worth up, you can do anything. You really can overcome anything that comes your way. There's no reason for anything to be able to affect you so much that it causes you to stop in your tracks. And now you're so sorrowful and crying and moping around that you can't do anything. We want to build you up. We want you to be encouraged. We want you to know that life goes on. There's no reason ever for suicide. I don't advocate that at all. There's no reason for it, because like I used to tell my mom when I was younger, I told her, I said, Mom, after you gone, we gonna still be walking around doing the same thing we did when you were alive. So go on with your life, Mom. My mother was a mother. She had 7 children, and she was motherly. So she never remarried after my dad and her separated. So I'm gonna be truthful with you. She never remarried. She just lived her life as a born again believer, and then she passed away. So you can do it. You can do it. It's not the last thing. And just know that you're beautiful. I'm talking to the women out there. We come in all different shapes, colors, sizes. But know that even when people don't compliment you, compliment yourself. And this is, I told you again, this ain't motivational. This is truth. You are beautiful. Everybody got something in them that's in their characteristic that's beautiful. Don't be sad, or don't be moping, or don't be angry. Let the anger go. It just cause you to hurt yourself more than anybody else. Because sometimes people want to get near you. And as I talk to you, the funny thing about talking to you, I start thinking about the things that I used to do as a young girl. I'm not going to talk about it today, but as we go on, I will give you more and more ways that I came through and that I'm where I'm at like I said, I'm at my best place in life. Right now, I am at my best place. I'm at my most peaceful place. And it wasn't because of anybody so much helping me as it is that I use certain tools to get me to where I am. So, am I up? Time up. Okay, well, we're gonna end this session this week. I hope you got something out of it. I'm gonna, as we go on, you'll learn more about me, and I try not to use the teach, um, but I do want to encourage you to understand who you are and what you were brought on this earth for. If nobody else helped you, if nobody else ever helped you, I want to help. All right, you know what? I always say on Facebook, love you. So I'm going to say here, this is how I'm going to end it. And you'll always hear me say value and worth, and you'll always hear me say love you till the next time. Bye-bye.